everybody, and welcome back to the Backlogs channel. This is the first of many videos that are going to go out right after I just posted my complete Nintendo Direct analysis after the fact, basically talking about everything important that happened within this most recent Switch to Nintendo Direct. But now I think I didn't go in full detail about certain things, knowing I was going to start making individual videos talking more in depth and specifically about them. It has been about 2 days now as of recording these videos. I'm recording these on the 4th of April, and that means the Direct happened 2 days ago now. There's been a lot of time for people to digest a lot of the information that has come out, and I'd like to just give updated and full information about all these topics I'm going to be talking about. This is the first of many of those videos, and I thought I'd start first at a topic that is most talked about and the most pulverizing, if you would, out of all subjects. I'm going to first start talking about the idea of all these crazy prices going around that people are freaking out about. Now, coming right off of the Direct, the hype for practically everything in the Direct was 100% positive. Everyone loved the Direct. It almost seemed like a 100% perfect Direct with no problems, but there was one big thing that glared past anything else and showed a lot of doubt behind one certain topic, and that would be pricing. Throughout the Direct, people, including myself, started to realize a trend that was going on of not showing any prices for games, for the console itself, for anything, including even the camera. That's going to be an extra feature. The Pro Controller, extra Joy-Cons that you can get, carrying cases, screen protectors, nothing. Nothing got any type of prices until manufacturers started posting these prices individually on their websites themselves, and that's when people started going absolutely insane. There was a rumor going around that the new Mario Kart was going to be $90 physical and $80 digital, and Donkey Kong was rumored to be at $80 physical and $70 digital. Now, there's a lot of problems with practically everything I just said. First of all, there's not going to be two separate prices for digital and physical games. They were both, as they always have been, stay the same price. They will stay one solid price between digital and physical. It is not changing for this console alone. And Mario Kart is going to be $80 physical and digital, which we'll get into that in a second. But Donkey Kong is going to stay at $70 physical and digital, and that is the industry standard. People might be freaking out thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe Nintendo is going up $30 for a game that should be $60. Now, first of all, there's got to be some sort of reason. The price of $80 being more than any other main release at the time is the most expensive. We're pushing the envelope from 60 to 80, but if you really think about it, 70 is now the industry standard for price of a new solid first party game. Even the third party games that are big releases are 70, no longer 60. That is companies catching up with the times. They've been doing that for a few years now, and the first instance of Nintendo doing this was actually on the Switch 1 with Tears of the Kingdom, and their excuse at the time for that price jump from 60 to 70 was because the game was so big and expansive, and it took so long for them to create the game that it was worth the extra $10 for us to pay for it. But that was actually just Nintendo dipping their feet into the pool of completely bringing up that standard from 60 to 70 and coming up to the industry standard. They were kind of the final people in that $60 pool, now swimming in this $70 bigger pool where it is the industry standard to have a $70 release. Now, why is Mario Kart $80? Now, Nintendo hasn't said anything about this happening, but there's gotta be a reason. There's no way that it is just because the game is bigger and better. There's gotta be some sort of reason. I saw a few ideas being floated around by some other Nintendo YouTubers talking about possibly the idea of this game for years and years to come getting constant free updates, almost in the form of free DLC, because this game is a little bit more money and you're basically buying for that guarantee to be getting that much more content down the road instead of having to pay for DLC. Now, what will ensue if Nintendo chooses to say, yes, we are charging $80 for this game and we think it is worth $10 more than the industry standard, and we will be charging you extra for DLC in the future, then Mario Kart will not be worth the price tag, and I will not advise anyone to buy it unless you're absolutely serious, you do not care, and you're still able to pay for that amount of money. It will not be worth it in the grand scheme of things if there's nothing that is explaining the extra $10 past the industry standard. Now, with that being said, people are saying that it's $90 physical and $80 digital, and this rumor comes from European websites listing it and certain manufacturers listing it as $90 separately 90 euros, and 80 euros digital, 90 euros physical. That has nothing to do with us. That rumor started spreading like wildfire. There are still people to this day, 2 days later, that think that is the truth. I've talked to them individually and they still don't understand because rumors fly like crazy. But this isn't the case. It's $80 across the board for America, and that's where we are. I assume a lot of people that are listening to this are also in America, so don't worry about it. It's $80, and it's the only game that has shown that is at least the only new game that is being shown that is going to be 80. But with that being said, Donkey Kong is going to be 70, the industry standard. No reason to get upset over that one. But if you want a true deal, about halfway through the presentation, we were shown the release date and the two bundles that this console is going to come in. There's going to be the base model, $450 for the base model that comes with just the console, or you could buy it for $50 extra, a bundle deal that bundles in Mario Kart, bringing the overall price from 80 to 50. Now that is a deal if you're willing to buy Mario Kart. Do not buy the $80 just because you want the physical. Save an extra $30. Buy a brand new Switch 2 plus a completely brand new game on top of that for a solid $50, which is actually cheaper than any industry standard games from a few years ago before it came up to 70. Now, thinking about it, you would even be saving $20 off the industry standard of today. Now, another thing that is concerning a lot of people, but I'd like to just myself explain a little bit and try to make it make sense to some of the people that aren't understanding it. There is more than just the Mario Kart on launch that's going to be worth $80. There's also going to be some Switch 2 upgrade packs. Now, this is a little complicated, so just buckle in, try to understand it as best as you can. So there's multiple different types of upgrade packs that are all ranging different prices. take example from the trailer in the Nintendo Direct, a game like Mario Party Jamboree. Now that game is coming over to the Switch 2 from the Switch 1, but instead of being worth $70, an extra $10 on top of it, it is worth $20 extra at $80, same price as the new Mario Kart. And the reason for this is because not only did they bring Mario Party over and completely change the visuals and rework how it looks and make it look completely great with resolution and frame rate and all that stuff, the extra $10, but they also added extra DLC to the game, basically adding content, completely adding new content. That is that extra $10 on there. So the resolution bump and that is where, in the frames per second, that's worth $10, and then the extra DLC exclusive to the Switch 2 edition, also $10. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, then Brayden, why is Tears of the Kingdom worth $80 if it isn't even going to be getting any DLC? Now, that's simple. The Switch 1 edition of Tears of the Kingdom was worth $70 initially, adding the extra $10 to it, making it $80 because they're doing a complete resolution bump. And that is why Tears of the Kingdom is going to be $80, while Breath of the Wild, on the other hand, is going to be $70 from $60. They're adding another $10 on it because of the resolution and frame rate bump. And yeah, that's just how it's going to go. Some of the Switch 2 upgrade packs are going to be more than others just based on what type of content they get. There's games, again, like the Zelda games that are just coming over for resolution and frame rate bumps and their own new additions on the Switch 2. Or there's also Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby and the Forgotten Land and stuff like that that's also coming over at a full $80 because they're adding content to their respective games. I hope that made sense, but I really wanted to get ahead of that because some people were just confused why some games were more and some were less, and what even the upgrade packs meant and all that stuff. Now, I'm pretty sure the upgrade packs are the extra DLC and added content to the game and resolution bumps. But when it's just a resolution bump, I think those were called expansion packs. So they're just expanding the game's visuals, I guess. I don't know. But another thing that people saw from this that also sprouted some concerning thoughts is game key cards making physical games not physical. Now, game key cards are Nintendo's way of giving you a physical release of a game, even though it's not going to be physically on a cartridge. So you're going to take a cartridge, almost like any other Switch game, put it in the console, and it's basically giving you the license and permission to now download that game online only for the first time. And once you download it, it's basically like you have a digital game on your Switch. But it's physically still a box for collectors to put on their shelf to look nice and all that stuff. So that is a good thing until you start to think, wow, this is Nintendo starting to push digital only gaming, which is what most of the population is thinking, and I want to put that rumor to rest. It is not just Nintendo doing this, although they are in the spotlight at the moment for being the ones to do this. Xbox and PlayStation have been doing this for years now, where they're starting to make games digital, but you buy the physical release and it's just a disc that you put in, and it's actually just giving you the license to download the game digitally as if you just bought it off the storefront. Nintendo is just being upfront about it and not hiding it behind a physical thing. They're saying, yes, you will buy a physical case, but the game will not be on the game card. The game card will just be a game key that will unlock access to download the digital version of the game. Now, moving on, another grumble that people had about the Nintendo Direct was when they showed off Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, and it looked very, very much like a tech demo, almost Astrobot-ish thing. I don't even want to call it a game because it's more of just like a tool showing you how the console works and some extra features that you might not know right out of the box. Now, most people, when seeing this trailer, expected this game to be a pack-in for free, just to show off, again, like Astrobot, show off the game, or the game console's features and what it can do and things you might not even know about it, so you can learn a little bit more about the console you just bought instead of having to figure it out on your own. But it was revealed that it's going to be a digital-only game that you have to pay for, and people weren't happy about this. I mean, simple fix, don't buy the game. It's not necessary, and the game doesn't even barely look like a game. There is some mouse plus gyro support in there, but that's about it. That's all you're going to be really getting that you haven't already known before. And yeah, I think I will probably still get this game just to test out some parts of the Switch 2 Joy-Cons that might not be fully shown, mouse support and stuff. I'm just really hoping that it is $10 or less. $5 would be ideal, but 10 is the absolute ceiling. If they try to go 20, 30, or even something like 40, or even, think about this for a second, full price, $70 for this, they would be out of their absolute minds. Anything at all over $10 would be absolutely incredibly insane on Nintendo's part. And I just don't think they'll do it. But if they do, simple fix, just don't buy the game. Send Nintendo the message that they f***ed up, that they messed up. Now, the last thing that I really saw people complaining price-wise was the C button being locked behind extra content. Now, the C button, if you don't know, is an extra button on the Joy-Cons and the Pro controller and the GameCube controller adapter that is going to be released for this new console. They all have a C button on it, and that C button stands for chat because they just added a new chat feature to the entire console built in. That's going to be free for about a whole year after the console is released, but after that will be part of the paid Nintendo Switch Online service. The entire chat situation. And that's an issue on its own, the fact that they're charging for such a basic feature that everyone else has had, chatting. They could at least lock maybe the camera support or the screen sharing support, but at least I think they should keep game chat to a free option the entire life of the Switch. But what can you do there? I mean, most people that even care about having game chat most likely are already going to, or if not, already do have a Nintendo Switch Online membership, so it's not that big of a deal. But that means that for any general consumer buying this console, not knowing anything about Nintendo, they will have a button that is rendered absolutely useless by May of next year because they won't have Nintendo Switch Online. So they'll press this button and it will show nothing. This is the first time that I can think of in video game history where a button is being locked behind extra payable content. And I think that's a problem. I really do think that's a problem. If it was such a big gimmick for your console to have a whole new button on it, the only new button on the entire base model of your new console, it's the only new feature button-wise and honestly gimmick-wise, then that's a problem. But anyways, oh, I also forgot to mention, anyone that has a Nintendo Switch Online service will not have to pay the extra amount of money for upgrades. when it comes to at least the 2 Zelda games, those will come for free if you have Nintendo Switch Online memberships already. So don't fret. If you have that, then you're in good hands. Just day one, you'll be able to see the enhanced graphics and all that stuff, if nothing else, because all the games are too expensive or something, whatever people are saying. And yeah, that's about it. Honestly, little higher in price than was expected, but to be fair, I think we got more content when it comes to 4K resolution, 120 frames per second. That is definitely a feature that is worth the extra $50 from the $400 price tag that people thought it was going to be originally. And, we'll just have to wait till April 17th when the Mario Kart Direct comes out to see why this game is an extra $10 from the industry standard, and what seems to be what's going to be the standard for Nintendo going forward at $70 per new first party release. And with that, thank you everybody so much for watching. See you in the next Backlogs video. Bye bye.